Fighters with the millions.
It's that world heavyweight flow. Championship belt wrapped around my waist, yo. I got that Ric Flair figure flow. Slam you on the pavement, that's why they call me Street Pro. Create heat on beat flow. Like Jordan after the second time he three-peated. Folks, get ready, set, let's go. Fight toe to toe, release the flow created by this mic pro. Lights, camera, get low. Action packed, back to back. In fact, this monster will grow. Y'all better let him know. Man with the master plan, and you have no need to know. You came prepared, now get ready for the show.
Sports Professor. Oh, shit. Yo, what up? What up? What up, friends? Yes, indeed. It has been 3 weeks since your boy was here with you, but we are back. Happy to be in full effect. Yes, Omar, the Professor Fonseca, back with another installment of the Professor's Semanalmente. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button, whether watching now or on the replay as well. Please make sure you subscribe to Ballin' Buds, BALLAND BUDS on YouTube. Big, huge 2 weeks coming up. These next 2 weeks, we are good on YouTube. So yeah, after we took a nice little long break to get ourselves refreshed, we now have a huge 2 weeks coming upon ya. So I figured I'd come back with a quick show today just to get myself refreshed. But let me give you the programming schedule for the next 2 weeks. Obviously, you have me tonight. I'm about to get into the entertainment world. We're going to talk Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce getting married as well. We're getting into sports. I'm going to do a live fantasy football draft for you. So if you're into fantasy football, if you want to know how to be a master at it, make sure you follow your boy. I'll give you some tips on that as well. We'll talk the Micah Parsons trade and then finish it all off with some news headlines at the end to finish the night off. But tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, we will have Major League Baseball. Yes, I will have my baseball crew on with me. Amol the Agilist, M. Weeby. We'll have Jersey Boy MJ from IOW Sports, as well as Lion Reese Penn from the Rec Room. So check that out, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific tomorrow night. And then Wednesday night, the NFL Super Spectacular Season Preview. I'm going to have people from everywhere. I'm telling y'all think I'm joking when I say super spectacular. We're going to have so many insiders. Your mind is going to be blown. Maybe even 10 people on the screen at one time. I don't know how crazy I'm going to get with it, but we'll see. Let's Talk Sports, IOW, Ballin' Buds, Final Say, Bottom Line, Audible Podcast. All the places you could imagine will be represented for the huge NFL season preview, 8 p.m. Eastern, Wednesday. So MLB tomorrow, NFL Wednesday, both at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then next week, Tuesday, I'll have my Mind to the Professor. I'm getting deep. I know I talked about it for a while. A lot of people have been asking me where it was at. I said I was going to talk about the epidemic of mass shooting in this country and how it's come about with mental health epidemic and firearm availability. I am going to dive deep into it and give you the Mind of the Professor. That will be Tuesday at 7 Eastern. And then Wednesday at 8 Eastern, we will have the Boxing Champs fight picks and news special for the Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Crawford fight. That will be next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then finally, next Thursday, before the night game, we will have our the new college football NFL weekly show that we will be running here on Ballin' Buds. Me and some friends will get together. I'm not sure who's going to be on the show yet. I'm assuming Clubber D is going to be there, as well as Dirty Mojo, as those are the people I've talked to about it. But it is going to be before the night games on Thursday. I've decided, instead of trying to press people into action on Sundays. So that'll be next Thursday. We'll start that because this Thursday we already got the first game of the season, and we don't need to mess with that. Yeah, I mean, all right. Well, that being said, let's go ahead and get into it because we do have the fantasy draft here in about 10 minutes. But to kick this off, yes, let's get into the entertainment world. I see my boy we we'll call him B More is what we'll call him on Instagram. There's a skit that we have as an inside joke that's hilarious. If I would have switched around, but I don't want to give his real government. I'll see you in the fantasy room in 10 minutes. I'm going to do the fantasy draft live. But first, let's talk a little Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce getting married. Say what? Omar, you letting your ex-girlfriend go get married to Travis? I know. My baby's gone. She's gone. She done flew the coop. Taylor is gone. She's gone forever. Travis has stolen my love. Shout out though. Shout out to them. Salute to them. Happy for them. The engagement, as we know, this is a couple has been in the works for a couple of years now. Ever since Travis Kelce shot his shot at Taylor on his New Heights podcast that he does with his brother Jason of previous Philadelphia Eagle champion fame. Anyways, we do know that these are two huge personalities in the world of entertainment and sports. Taylor Swift, obviously, one of the biggest pop culture icons of all time. And Travis Kelce, a champion football player, top 5 tight end of all time, I think. If I had to think about it going back, I mean, I don't know if I can remember everybody, but top 5 seems accurate. Probably like number 5 or number 4. I mean, obviously, you're going to have Antonio Gates, Tony Gonzalez. Yeah, that's a good one. I would put him probably. I would have him in the top 5, regardless. This isn't the sports portion, this is the entertainment portion. Let's get to the actual part of this, because I do want to bring it full circle for the sports fans who do watch this program. I'm a Swiftie. Love me some Taylor Swift. She has always been there since they started dating. The NFL, the partnership. If you go back to my 4-part series I did about Taylor Swift versus the NFL, the versus was a hyperbole because they were actually working in conjunction. And I told the whole story of how this was going to lay out. And this is exactly how I said it was going to be. Now we're at the point where they are going to get married. Now, I even got made fun of in my fantasy draft this past weekend. Oh, why you draft Travis Kelce? Oh, blah, 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 blah. Well, because I knew this was coming. I knew they were going to get married. Travis Kelce going to have a resurgence season. What do you need to know as sports fans that entertainment fans know that you may not know? More sports fans probably don't know the connection or the Easter eggs hidden for the Swifties. So when you look at Taylor Swift, she's always dropping Easter eggs for her fans in order to let her know what's doing. She does this for every single album drop. There's always things that she leaves, Easter eggs in her path for her fans to gobble up. Now, what happened here for you sports fans, I'm going to break it down for you. Why is Travis Kelce resurgence / Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl season loading? Well, let you know why it's loading right now. Here you go. Here's the Easter eggs. If you were listening to the New Heights podcast when they actually dropped the engagement news, Taylor Swift dropped a lot of hints that she could finally be doing a certain show that has eluded her all of these years. She kept talking about sourdough and how she was obsessed with baking bread. Said she thought about it 60% of the time and kept repeating the number 47. So for you non-Swift fans, non-Swifties, you sports fans who may be like, what the are you talking about, Omar? Well, let me break it down for you. She kept saying she was obsessed with sourdough bread. The San Francisco 49ers mascot is Sourdough Sam. She kept repeating that it was 60% of the time she thinks about it. The Super Bowl coming up is number 60. She also kept repeating the number 47. The number 47 stop on Taylor's Era Tour is the San Francisco 49ers Stadium, Levi's Stadium, all adding up to Taylor Swift being announced as the halftime Super Bowl performer, Travis Kelce having a resurgent season, the Kansas City Chiefs winning the Super Bowl, and happily ever after, just as I told you it was going to be 2 years ago. Bada boom, bada bing, bow. Sports fans that had no clue, there you go. By the way, it is Travis Kelce's 13th season. Famously, that is Taylor Swift's favorite number. So were he to retire on his 13th season with the Super Bowl ring and her performing the halftime Super Bowl show, are you saying you would put that past the NFL? Are you saying you would put that past Taylor Swift? All things are controlled by a higher power, my friend. All right, cool. That's enough in the entertainment world. I had to break it down for y'all non-Swifties, let you know what it's talking about. Hit me in the comments. What do you think about Taylor and Travis getting married? Pretty cool. Salute to them. I'm about to start my fantasy draft, so you're going to watch me do a live fantasy draft. This is for my guillotine league, or guillotine, however you like to say it. Appreciate my brother B. Moore by inviting me into this league. I actually played it for the first time last year and won champion, first time ever playing. It was awesome. So let me go ahead and jump in this draft now. While we're doing that, though, because it is about 3 minutes till draft time, I do want to give you the MLB power rankings. So the MLB power rankings from Bleacher Report this week. And while I do that, let me go ahead and present to you really quick the let me share my screen here. I'm going to present the postseason picture for us from MLB.com. So you can see here, this is our postseason picture. This is what the Major League Baseball postseason would look like if it started today. Yes, you see my Metropolitans right there. You see them. Don't let it get twisted. You see it. Let me blow that up a little bit for y'all. Let me release. Let me move this banner down. There you go. You see it. So my Mets, I'm going to add me back here. Mets, they're up at 6. We'll be playing the Dodgers right now. The Padres would be playing the Cubs. And then you'd have the Houston and Seattle interdivision matchup, as well as another interdivision matchup. The hated Red Sox-Yankee rivalry. In the byes would be Toronto and Detroit, and Philadelphia and the Brewers as of today. So those power rankings, again, this comes from Bleacher Report as of today. Tied for number 5, or in my eyes tied, the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. I ad-libbed on this one. Blue Jays 79 and 58, Dodgers 78 and 59, tied at 5. Number 4, the Philadelphia Phillies 79 and 58, but they got swept by my Metropolitans last week. Flat out, get out of here. Chicago Cubs at number 3 with future MVP PCA Pete Crow Armstrong. They also went 0-3 against San Francisco last week, so that didn't help them. 78 and 59, they're there. The Detroit Tigers at number 2, 80 and 58 record, but they lost to my Mets this afternoon. Let's go. Mets beating all the good teams. I think that says something good for us, but Tigers still one of the best teams in the league, and they got Tarek Skubal. And at number 1, the unquestioned best team in Major League Baseball, the Milwaukee Brewers at 85 and 53, 5 games in the win column above of the next best team of Detroit. They are just hot, steaming hot are the Milwaukee Brewers, and if they can keep that momentum up, they are going to be a favorite. Make sure to tune in tomorrow night. Again, tomorrow night, Major League Baseball, 8 Eastern. Me and the boys, M. Weeby, Amul the Agilist, Jersey Boy MJ, and the Lion Reese Penn. We will all be talking about this tomorrow. We will go into the whole MLB postseason picture, talk about the pennant race. So join us tomorrow again, 8 p.m. Eastern. That being said, all right, that's it for our MLB coverage today. Now we are going to move into the fantasy football portion. I'm going to leave that MLB thing up there for a second, though, as I go look at my fantasy draft. So I have received here, let's see, what pick do I have? Oh, that's right. There's 16 teams. And so I guess, does the champion just automatically get the 16th pick, or was this randomized? I'm going to have to call cap on that, as the kids would say. We call cap on that. It's all right, though. I'll take the 16th pick because I'm going to show y'all fools how you do it back-to-back, even with the 16th pick. Now, this is going to be a little more difficult. 16-team league back-to-back. I'm going to have to make sure that I pump up both of my teams immediately. Let me go ahead and grab that. We'll get rid of that. There we go. Bring this back up. Now we're going to bring our fantasy football draft up. Show you what we got going on here so y'all can see what I would be thinking. An expert in fantasy. Help y'all out here. So that way, if you got your fantasy football draft this week, you'll know what you're doing. Let me blow that up a little mo, as the kids would say, some mo. All right, here you go. So you see the fantasy football draft that I'm in live. So here we go. Again, I got the last pick of the draft, 16 team. It is 16 teams. You ask why? Well, it is a 16 team because this is a guillotine league or guillotine league. And so the 16 team guillotine league, you have to have one team eliminated every week of the season until you get to the last week of the season. Now, you may ask, what is a guillotine league? It is a special type of fantasy league. And man, it's crazy, y'all. So basically, you draft a team, and then every week, one team gets eliminated. As those teams are eliminated, those teams' players go to the free agency, and players are allowed to pick those players up. Now, you may ask, okay, so what stops this, or what's the restrictions here? What makes it tougher? Well, first of all, you only have a budget of $200 for free agency for the whole year. So you have $200 to spend over 15 weeks. So you have to be careful how you spend it. There are strategies. Some people like to spend earlier. Some people like to spend later. Some people like to spread even throughout the weeks. Some people like to wait on just specific picks, things like that. My strategy worked out perfect last year. I'm not going to tell you what it was because I want to keep it this year, but I won the championship my first time playing. It just was a really good strategy. I'm going to keep that this year. But again, it's hard when you're going to have that 16. So I got to hit this back to back here. Good part is, at this 16-17 turn, I still should have enough to go ahead and get a running back wide receiver combo that will allow me to go ahead and build a pretty decent team. And again, if you can have a good enough team to make it through the first few weeks, you'll actually be able to capitalize off the free agents that are dropped from teams that lose. Cool. All right, so you can see Bijan went first. We got Jamar Chase going second. That's pretty common right now, 1 or 2. You can flip-flop. And then you got Jahmyr Gibbs, Saquon Barkley, 3 and 4, kind of flip-flopped. I was lucky enough. Shout out to all my boys in the VA Hustlers Fantasy Football League. I might as well say what an amazing time we had in Vegas last weekend. 10 of us went out there and tore the town up. Vegas could not handle the 703 boys. We had our fantasy draft out there in a suite at where was that? The Alara. Shout out my brother. Don't want to give his name out. I'll call him JL on here. JLB. John Layfield Bradshaw hired the suite for us. Shout out to my boy. Appreciate you. Even though I had a pink hue to it, I don't know why we were in the lovers suite. Literally, we're drafting in a suite and it's pink. I was like, okay, this is either super sunscreen or like drafting in a lover's room. Anyway, shout out to all my boys. Amazing time. So much fun. I had the number 5 pick. Luckily, Saquon fell to me. Let's see what we got going on here. Christian McCaffrey went 5, Neighbor 6, Lamb 7, Brown 8. Ooh, Brown over Justin Jefferson. Okay. See that there. You could see I would have even picked Jefferson, me personally, over Brown, and possibly even over Lamb. Probably not, because you still got the Dak to Lamb connection. That's really all they got there. But Jefferson over Brown for me, just because I think that J.J. McCarthy and Jefferson are going to have a good connection this year. I don't think J.J. McCarthy is going to be too shabby. So y'all look out this year. All right, look, all the real running backs are kind of taken at this point, except a couple that I've been looking at now. I could also go tight end here because of the fact that wide receivers are obviously a little deeper than tight end. I don't really want to have a homer pick per se, but in these guillotine leagues, it does pay to have players that are going to start off hot and hopefully keep it hot. So, there went one of the people I was thinking, Derrick Henry. I was thinking of Derrick Henry, so that's a little tough there that he just went. the other running back, or there's one of the other running backs out. So that only leaves me of a choice here in my eyes and let me let you know why I'm thinking this. Obviously, I want a running back. At this point, looks like I'm looking at the board. There's 2 running backs left that are really going to be bell cow running backs. Jacobs, Brown, maybe Bucky Irving. I'm really high on Brown this year, but Jacobs did just get signed to a 4-year deal last year. So, I don't know about chasing a sophomore slump. I am going to draft my brother from another, Josh Jacobs. But I did think that he was the last good, solid. Now Chase Brown, don't get me wrong, Chase Brown is good, but I thought he was there. Now the other one, look, receivers. I see them here. There's a few top receivers. You see them on the top of the board. You got to separate them yourself based on quarterback play. Obviously, there's one better than the other here, although that guy also kind of splits duties with another star receiver. So what do you think you would do here, right? Are you thinking receiver? Most people would go receiver here because they want to go receiver running back combo. But when you have a tight end that is heads and tails above everyone else, you cannot pass up on Brock Bowers, especially with the Raiders, Jacoby Myers asking for a trade and them only having Amari Cooper. I've got to take Brock Bowers here. Again, not trying to be a homer, but I got to do it. Got to. So I got a former Raider and a Raider, but you see how it's going. Here we go. I got a good little stable starting now, right? Josh Jacobs, Brock Bauer, right? Those are hopefully you also want to have people that you think are going to stay healthy, right? I think Brock Bauer's young stud, second-year player, should stay healthy. God forbid anything horrible happens. Josh Jacobs, pretty good health, except that 3rd year when he was with the Raiders. He had a little bit of the turf toe stuff, but there's nothing really you can do about that as a running back. He's been pretty durable, and hopefully he'll be able to stay that way. Still only 29, about to be 30, I think. So I appreciate what I got there at the turn at 16 and 17. How do you feel about my picks there at 16 and 17? What do you think about what I did there? Anybody got any comments on that? Hit me in the chat. So that's not what I wanted. There we go. Boom. All right, cool. So, yes, anyways. All right, now something else I wanted to talk about while we're waiting for my next pick to come up, because in these long breaks, I'm going to have to wait 16 picks, so I don't really pay attention at this moment because a lot of players that I'm going to look at now are going to be gone anyways. So let's talk about it. The biggest trade last week. What the hell just happened? Cowboys fans are asking. Everyone in Dallas is asking, how could this happen? First, it was Luka, the young face of the franchise, led us to a Western Conference Finals, and Nico Collins ripped it away. And now geriatric Jerry Jones. How's that for some alliteration? Geriatric Jerry Jones has taken away generational, the second coming of Lawrence Taylor. Micah Parsons has been traded to the Cowboys. What? Mind blown. I cannot believe Jerry Jones would make such a stupid maneuver. This is just, Dallas fans, hey, if you live in Dallas, I'm sorry. My brother DJ Danny West, shout out to him. I feel bad for you and the crew in Dallas if you're out there. First Luka, now Micah, my condolences. You must be hating your sports life. And Jerry has just ripped it away from you. Micah Parsons, you already had a shitty defense. How are you going to get better without Micah Parsons? Look, I'm a UCLA Bruin fan, as we know, so I am a Kenny Clark fan. Always have been, because he came from the great University of California, Los Angeles. Shout out Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark is about to be 30 years old and a defensive tackle. As much as I love him and as great as an all-pro as he is, That is not Micah Parsons. A generational talent and not even in his prime yet. Now, Jerry, you done played this stupid game year after year after year. You've done it since Emmitt Smith back in the 90s. And you keep pulling this crap. You keep doing it. You don't sign your players. You make yourself wait. You end up having to pay them more later because you waited too long. You're in your old senile age. Your business senses have gone out the damn window. And now you trade a generational player for 2 first-round picks who could turn out to be nothing. Now, granted, you could hit, but the likelihood of you hitting on another Micah Parsons is slim to none. Now, I don't know the exact percentage, but I would imagine it's in the very low percentile. I would assume it is in less than 5% that you're going to hit on another Micah Parsons with those 2 picks. Actually, it's probably even less than that. Infinitesimal would be the word of the percentage. What a great word for a Puerto Rican on a live TV show. Infinitesimal. It means a very small amount. Chance of them to get another Micah Parsons. This was stupid. And then you go out and sign DaRon Bland. Don't get me wrong. DaRon Bland's a great player, Pro Bowler, set the record for pick sixes a couple years ago. To a 4-year, $92 million contract. All you had to do was double that and give it to Micah Parsons. I don't know. I have nothing else for you. I don't know. And then, you know what? It's not even worth it. It's not even worth it. I will repeat something that I repeated a couple years ago on a show, Wildcard Mars show, actually. And my pops is a Cowboys fan. So it hurts me to say this because if I'm not rooting for, obviously, my Raiders, if they're not playing the Cowboys, I root for the Cowboys because I want him to be happy, right? So if they're on, I hope they win so my dad's happy, right? The Dallas Cowboys are the most genius marketing exercise, brand activation, brand just anything you could think of globally, worldwide, ever. Because for them to have won no championships, 0 championships since the early 90s, and still be America's team, even though the Patriots won 7. I hate the Patriots, and they cheated towards most of them, so they don't deserve it either. I'm not saying they do. But that means that Jerry Jones just has done some amazing marketing for the Dallas Cowboys to still be where they're at. But for you to do all that marketing and build the Dallas Cowboys to be America's team and this, that, and all the other, and for you to just sell off Micah Parsons like a bum, I'm pissed for the Cowboys fans. What are we talking about? Shout out Felicia on IG. Sorry I missed you and missed each other in Vegas. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, what are we talking about, yo? You are tripping, Jerry Jones. Tripping. I can't believe that. Anyways, all right, let's look back at our board here. Fantasy football board. Let's get a little update here. What we got going on since we last left. You can see here, we've got a run on after I went with Brock Bowers. I'm on my right side here. I would make it bigger, but here we go. You'll see after I went Brock Bowers here, we started to get a run of, no, actually, it was just Josh Allen, not a run on quarterbacks there. It went right back to receiver, running back, which is probably what should have been done there. You see here, started top 3. There we go. Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson gone. Okay. and then more running backs, more receivers. So at this point, with a running back tight end, I'm thinking I need quarterback receiver here at the turn. The issue is what quarterbacks are left, and are they good enough for me to want to waste a pick on now, or should I go 0 QB and wait till later? Now, I have never done this in my whole entire life, and I don't know if I'm going to do it or not, but there's something very sacrilegious on the board for me right now. I'm sure all of you know, just from looking, what that would be. And I do need I wouldn't want to, but that's the last elite option left on the board. And what I just talked about a couple minutes ago, yeah, I mean, I got to do it, right? I just talked all about how Travis Kelce's going to have a resurgent season. The Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl because him and Taylor Swift are getting married. I need a QB. I don't ever want to do this. But Patrick Mahomes has to have a better season than last season, which was still not a bad season, just a down season for him. And if they're going to have a magical season anyways, why do I not want to capitalize on that? Am I a Raiders fan? Yes. Do I want to never draft my enemies? Yes. But do I also, as I just told my brother Clutch B a couple minutes ago by text about fantasy, this ain't about being a homer. This ain't about fandom. This is about winning money and winning. And I want to be champion again. And so I will risk that by drafting Patrick Mahomes. Excuse me, as I almost threw up there. Ugh, that hurt. That hurt a lot to do. But it had to be done because he was the only one left that was going to guarantee points before that drop off to where you might as well just go with someone later like a Dak Prescott or a Baker Mayfield or something like that. All right, I need a wide receiver now at the turn, right? I've got my quarterback. I've got my running back. I've got my tight end. I need a wide receiver. If I can get one solid wide receiver, I'm going to have a really good 4-pair, and this is what you want to be a champion in a guillotine league. You want a nice 4-pair that's going to allow you. Now, look, man, there's nothing really I can do here except two things. One goes to Aaron Rodgers. The other goes with a quarterback he knows. I'm not a dummy. I'm going with someone you know. Mike Evans has posted 1,000-yard season after 1,000-yard season after 1,000-yard season, and he's done it with Baker Mayfield. God forbid anything bad happens. It's going to happen again this year, especially with Chris Godwin a little hurt. Now, they do have the rookie the second-year player from Ohio State, Micah Parsons, who is going to be awesome in the future, especially taking over for Godwin as he starts to, he's still going to be here this year, Godwin is, but he's not healthy. Mike Evans is going to be their go-to all year long. The other person I could have gone there with was obviously DK Metcalf, but he's tied to Aaron Rodgers, and you never know what can happen there, and Pittsburgh's offense is always a little shaky, so I had to go with Mike Evans. I am extremely, extremely happy with my draft right now. I got a stacked team right now, and honestly, from here on out, and this is the cool part, and I didn't know this last year when I drafted regularly as I would have a normal league, but in guillotine leagues you can draft a little differently because the thinking is if you're able to get through the first week, which with this lineup I better get through the first damn week, I know I will, and so when I do, one team's going to drop. So if you really needed a position to fill, now free agents are starting to be there. So honestly, now, instead of taking people, I think, okay, they're going to score solid every week, which is what you really wanted, people that you could keep in all year long. Now I can start to look at, okay, I can take some chances here because of the fact that there's going to be teams dropping and good free agents coming along throughout the year. And as long as I can get through the first few weeks, I have a chance to pick up free agency to make my team better. So here I can start taking high risk, high upside, you know what I'm saying, picks. So we'll see here in a second, and we'll come back to that. For now, let's go through some other sports headlines here. But so in the shout out to Lee Corso. Yes, salute the headgear master. Lee Corso, 91 years old, made his final appearance on College Game Day. Lee Corso has forever been known as the guy to bring the headgear, put it on. You know who he's rooting for in terms of winning the day's best game this past weekend. He took Ohio State over Texas. He was correct. By the way, and I wish I would have wrote this down somewhere, but I read it somewhere. I believe his record of headgear was like 287 wins and 144 losses. So pretty good record there on the headgear. That's pretty nice on his account. So shout out, salute, happy retirement, sir. Thank you for all of the memories. We wish you a happy retirement. All right, moving on. Other sports news. Last night, did you watch the MLS Cup Final, League's Cup Final between Seattle Sounders and Inter Miami? Well, it wasn't the Seattle Sounders beating the Inter Miami led by Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez, soundly, no pun intended. Actually, it was intended. They beat them pretty well. It wasn't that was what was extremely surprising. Yeah, it was surprising because the Seattle Sounders were shorthanded. You're playing against Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez. You would think that Inter Miami will win. They did not. Seattle won. But did you see the aftermath? Did you see the brawl between the teams? The brawl in soccer terms or football terms. They were like, oh my God. Announcers, this is so horrendous. I was like, damn, this is kind of weak for a sports fight. If you're talking American, we actually, sometimes they actually throw blows. In America, these people are just pushing. It's okay. I mean, they were in America. I don't know why I said that. God bless. That was horrible. Never mind. I'm just going to keep it moving from there. Anyways, pretty crazy though. Started to push, started things, all the people coming together, referees, players, staffers, ends up Luis Suarez, who has a history of biting people. Yes, I said biting people, multiple people, including in the World Cup, famously about 10 years ago, decided to spit in the face. Yes, I repeat, spit in the face of a Seattle Sounders staffer. Not the best look. He's definitely going to get suspended for that. And we'll keep you updated. But yeah, definitely not a good look. But salute to the Seattle Sounders for winning that game that was marred by the ugly aftermath. Taylor Townsend's dream run ends at the U.S. Open. You're asking, Omar, who is Taylor Townsend? Well, if you didn't see the controversy earlier this week between her and a European lady, I forget her name at the moment. I think it's like Olena Lavenska or something like that. Anyways, so they were playing a match. European lady, American lady. Taylor is African American. So obviously you have the white-black component there. They're going at it. They're playing in a game. Taylor is very animated about her performance. She's playing well. She's very upbeat, very excited, jubilant, exuberant. The other girl takes that for, I guess, taunting, maybe even cockiness. And I'm sorry, when you're in a sport like tennis or in an individual sport in general, you are the only person to be able to hype yourself up. So these things are necessary. And if it was Djokovic or Nadal, no one would bat an eye, right? So I can see her frustration, but in individual sport, you just can't really have that frustration because you just got to ignore it. You got to pay attention to your game. But what happened was after the game, she said she called her classless and had no education to her face. Now, as we all know, if you've lived in America, having no education is a horrible, insensitive, ignorant, incorrect trope about our African-American brothers and sisters. And so a lot of people said, oh, this could be racism on her part and things like that. And while, yes, that when I first heard the quote, I was like, oh, Okay. Well, let me look into it and see a little more why instead of just my initial thoughts, because my initial thoughts kind of jumped to that too as well. So I looked into it further. Turns out that I guess some of her pregame things she practices closer to the net, Taylor does, instead of by the baseline, which is apparently a rule. I never knew that was a rule, but apparently it was. But apparently Taylor does this all the time. Anyway, she took some issue with some things that she did pre and in match. Again, sorry, stay on your half of the court and worry about yourself. I can't side with her on this. I got to side with Taylor on this. It seemed more of just a crybaby thing, which speaking of, the next person that Taylor played actually ended up crying mid-match, like started literally looking up at the crowd, complaining to the crowd. I guess her parents were there or her coach, and starts crying and is like whining. It's like a wail, like a banshee. It's horrible. And I'm like, girl, are you really crying because the other girl is animated because she's happy that she's whooping your butt? Well, sorry, just be better and don't pay attention to it. Focus on yourself. Focus on your game. And shout out to Taylor. Also, shout out to two other beautiful ladies, Naomi Osaka and Coco Gauff. Naomi Osaka beat Coco Gauff in straight sets today to advance in the U.S. Open. All right. So there's some more sports headlines for you. That being said, let's go back and check out our fantasy football draft again. We're coming up on my next pick on the turn. So let's see what we got. Shout out to my brother Canteen. Yes, sir. I see you, my brother. Thank you for tuning in. Y'all should tune in again Wednesday. NFL Super Season Spectacular Preview. Canteen will be there. Hot Take Jake, Wild Card Mark, Clubber D, the whole crew, everybody will be there Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. You check it out. I'm going to have so many insiders, and you are not going to want to miss it. Let's go ahead and bring this fantasy football draft back up for you. So I'm a couple picks away here. Now, remember, right, I'm already solidified here. I can actually look at high risk, high reward picks here. So let me look. I'm looking at all positions. We're looking at 2025 projected, right? If I go to the pick history, I see since I last went, people keep picking wide receivers and running backs. So a couple of teams got their quarterbacks, a couple of teams. Oh, there we go. There's a run on tight ends finally at the end of the 6th. Sam Laporta, Hawkinson, Kelce. Round 5, Baker Mayfield and Pickens. 2 early picks there in my eyes. That's okay. Oh, Igbuka, who I talked about earlier. There he goes. Rasheed Wright. Surprised he got picked there. Let's go back to the board, see who we got here. We don't need quarterback. We don't need tight end. We're sufficient there. So we're only looking at running back, receiver right now. Obviously, running backs there's less of. So let me go there first and see if I can find anybody. You got Jaylen Warren. He is supposed to technically be the starter there, and he does catch passes. So that is kind of tempting, actually. You do have Etienne and Bigsby here you could go with. Let me go check out my receivers real quick and see if there's anybody that stands out. I'm not going to go Myers when I already went Bowers. Pittman I really liked 2 years ago, but he had a down year last year. I'm not sure. Cooper Kupp, I'm not sure about there with Seattle. Probably going to have a resurgent year with Darnold. But I'm going to go running back Jaylen Warren. Hopefully the 4th year has a good upside. And then now I'm going to look back at the receiver, and I can still go Cooper Kupp here. I could go Michael Pittman, but you got Daniel Jones, who I don't trust at all to throw him past a wall. Bars. Keenan Allen going back to Los Angeles is really underrated considering he had his best season a couple years ago with Justin Herbert, and last 6 games last year were excellent after Chicago changed offensive coordinators. Wow, here's one of those high upside, high risk picks that you're going to see in a guillotine league. If Stephon Diggs was more healthy, I would take it, but I can't. So I'm looking at either Jennings or Kupp here. How hurt is he? Who else do they have? They still have Njigba. I'm going to go Jennings here. So you could have got Jennings or Kupp. I think Kupp will have a resurgent year, but Jennings or Cup, either way, you get a second pick there, high upside, right? Jennings is still young. He's second year, I believe. That's why I went with him over Cup. Cup could have I think he will have a resurgent year with Darnold, but I'm going to pick Jennings there, a little higher upside, being a little younger. Plus, again, I can always pick up players once they start to come off the waiver wire, since I don't see myself being out of it anytime in the first few weeks. Now, that takes me away for a while. So now, when I get back, this board is going to look significantly different. Now, the good part about it is since I already have a quarterback and a tight end that I'm not going to need to sub out the rest of the year, God forbid, unless the injury happens, I can focus solely on running back, wide receiver here the rest of the way. Not really worried about a defense or kicker, especially not kicker in a guillotine league. They're not important for me to draft. I think you have to in this league, so it'll be my last pick. Defense will probably be second to last if I have to. If not, by the way, for any of you fantasy drafters that don't know, if you're in a league that allows you to not draft defenses and kickers, unless you can really get unless the best defenses are still left in the second to last or last round, don't even bother. Forego a defense and a kicker. Take 2 receivers, running back, tight ends, high risk, high upside talent, because y'all, kickers and defenses are dime a dozen, and the difference between the top one and the last one are like 2 to 3 points, and it's not worth you wasting draft capital on. I'm actually pretty happy with my draft. The only thing I'm rethinking now is I think I talked myself into Cooper Kupp over Jawan Jennings that last pick, but that's okay. That's all right. Not a big deal. Oh, not a big deal. That's okay. That's all right. What do y'all think so far? How do y'all feel about the Drizzaf that I got going on? Let me go ahead and get in some other sports headlines that I had for y'all. If I can get this up. There we go. All right. So first of all, again, reminder, MLB baseball tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern. But we got to look. There's a bunch of good dog fights coming down the path that we're going to look at. Also, NFL Wednesday, we're going to talk about the whole season. We're going to get previews. We're going to get records. We're going to look at everything and how it's going. We'll talk about all the NFL teams. What's their chances to win? What's the ceilings? We'll look at some win and loss records, other things like that. So definitely looking forward to all of that. And okay, cool. Let me see what we got here. What we got here. That's not what I was looking for. That was the wrong link. Bear with me one moment while I find maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe. Oh, there it is. There it is. Boom. Okay, so college football this weekend. What a weekend in college football. And by the way, again, I'm going to be doing a weekly college football and NFL recap preview on Thursdays before the night game. So we'll be recapping the previous week action in college and NFL and then previewing the next week. Things to know: Arch Manning, disappointing start with number 1 Texas, losing to number 3 Ohio State this past weekend. But this is what I called for with Mar and Canteen a couple weeks ago. I said I predicted that Texas was going to be the national champion. I'm still not worried about that pick. Other than Arch Manning having a tough game and them making some mistakes here and there, it wasn't that horrible of a game for a first game against one of the best teams in the country, which, by the way, veteran-laden, which is why I expected this to happen. I called the Ohio State victory, but that means nothing 14 weeks from now. I still got it. But, yes, he was disappointing. Don't jump off the bandwagon just yet. Hot take, Jake. Come back from the ledge, baby. It's okay, my brother. Come back from the ledge. You know I love you. Happy anniversary to you, my brother. I see you and the beautiful wife celebrating 5 years of love and matrimony. Shout out, my brother. Hot take, Jake. Congrats to you and the wonderful bride. All right. LSU finally not losing in the opening game and beating Clemson. Yes, Dabo, another year highly rated, another year starting it off in the choking fashion. I was going to take Clemson in my top 4, and then I said, nope, can't do it because I know Dabo does this to me every year. So instead of Clemson in my top 4, I took Miami over Clemson and Notre Dame, and they proved me right. Miami beat Notre Dame last night. Now, again, I know that kind of contradicts what I just said about it being the first game, and it may not matter later on down the line, and it may not, because Miami versus Notre Dame was a barn burner. Came down to the last drive. It was an awesome, amazing game. I expect both teams to be there. I expect both teams to be there in the future, both teams to be there at the end of the year. Excuse me. So Carson Beck, obviously formerly from Georgia, leading Miami in that win. So my top 4, Texas, OSU, PSU, Miami, with Texas being the champion. Tonight, the Bill Belichick gold digger era starts. You said, what? Yes. Did you know that Jordan Hudson, the girlfriend of Bill Belichick, filed for a trademark for some jewelry line called Gold Digger? I mean, damn, Bill. I don't like you because you're Bill Belichick to me, and you and the New England Scams and Tom Shady cheated to every championship you got. But damn, Bill, I feel bad for you. The young lady is telling you she's using you for your money. It ain't for your looks. I think we all knew that. It ain't for your big brain, sir. Unless big brain is a euphemism for some other thing you got going on. You definitely know you got a big ego. Shout out with the connection there with Kanye West, Gold Digger. No, got a big. All right, whatever. Shout out Beyonce too. Anyways, in other sports news, off of the college football train, what a great college football weekend! I can't wait to look forward. Oh, by the way, a couple side notes, personal notes for me in the college football world. My UCLA Bruins looked like absolute trash, getting trounced 43-10 by Utah. Nico Iamaleava came in as a highly touted transfer from the Tennessee Volunteers, but instead Tennessee down in Knoxville, y'all got the better one with Joey Aguilar. Now, I'm sure Nico Iamaleava will improve throughout the year, but yesterday was a very bad showing, very inconsistent, off target. Looked like they didn't practice all off season long, got their butts whooped. On the other hand, my alumni, the Maryland Terrapins, who never were considered a football team, always a basketball team, 39-7. Malik Washington, the quarterback, true freshman, looking awesome. The defense, 6 picks. The Maryland Terrapins, Coach Locksley, locking them down. Shout out to the Terps and everybody in College Park. I miss College Park, baby. All right, let's get back to the fantasy draft because I am a couple of picks away, as you can see here. So again, here I want to solidify myself. We're continuing with just wide receivers and running backs at this point. I see Ramondre Stevenson. How injured is he? Not significant. Not a significant injury. Now, I know Trayshawn Henderson has shot up the boards as he should have, but with little else. Oh, nope, here we go. That's why you always look further, my friends. That's why you always take another looking like a guy, looking like a me. Looking like a me. That's why you always take a look a little further down your draft board. Always make sure you're covering all of your bases, all your touch points. Because I see some running backs, some higher upside running backs than Stevenson there that I could take. Now, the only problem there is, do I want to go starter? Do I want to go backup? I can't take both on the same team. But if you're asking me personally, I believe Bigsby will probably overtake Etienne with some point throughout the year. But since Etienne is the veteran, you're kind of worried there. Stevenson, you got Henderson. Oh, this is a tough one. Oh, I really like Mason to take over for Aaron Jones throughout the season, but obviously Etienne's going to start out with starter carries. Does Tank Bigsby overtake? Do they have the two-headed monster? Does Jordan Mason ever get a chance? I'm going with Travis Etienne to start, just because he's got starter, even though I do think Tank Bigsby will take over eventually, but I'm going to hedge that pick. I am going to hedge that pick with either Stevenson or Mason. Now, again, Mason is behind Aaron Jones, who still could have one more season in him. And Henderson, while as good as he's looked so far in the preseason, could still be a rookie and have some rookie struggles. And since they said Stevenson's not as hurt as they say, I'm going to go with Stevenson here. That's what I'm going to do. All right. So there you go. I'm going to pick some wide receivers next time we're up, and we'll see what happens there. All right. Cool. Back to some more headlines. Aaron Judge ties Yogi Berra for 5th on the Yankees all-time home run list. Judge hit number 358 for the Yankees. Next up, Joe DiMaggio at 361. By the way, that gives me a time to shout out my boy, Jersey boy MJ, IOW Sports, Wild Card Mar. They will be going live in T-minus 20 minutes at the 8 o'clock hour. Y'all check them out on IOW Sports Network at IOW Sports Network 4035 on YouTube, or just hit up IOW Sports Network. You'll be able to see them talk MLB baseball here in just about 15 minutes, right when I'm going off the air, because I am not going to stay much longer than that. So let's go ahead and move it into some actual news to finish off the next 15 minutes here. So, man, ever since I left, it was just like the news kind of went dead a little bit. Why didn't that scroll on the? There we go. Scroll on the bottom for me. Is that too much to scroll? There we go. All right. While I've been gone, we've seen a lot of things happen. First of all, prayers up. Pope Leo also offered prayers for the people in the Minneapolis church shooting, the two young children, 8 and 10. I'm not going to mention their name. I have it, but I'm not going to mention their name. Government's out there. If you want to find out, you can. Prayers for them and their families, as well as the other children. I believe there were up to 18 children and parishioners, a couple older parishioners as well, that were injured within this gun violence. So definitely prayers to all of them. Actually, I was going to come on with my professor Semanalmente last Wednesday, but then this happened. And so I decided instead of that, I would respect, what had just happened, because it was literally right after. And I was like, probably not a good look. So I'm going to keep it off. And instead, I prayed. I prayed for the victims. I did a rosary for them. Just trying to give hope for the best for those people that were involved in such a horrific incident. Which brings me to my larger point, and this is what I'm going to talk about next Tuesday on my Mind to the Professor. I am going to talk about how we have this prevalence of mass shooting incidents within the United States and why that is due to the mental health epidemic as well as firearm availability. And I'm going to go into a very deep dive. I've done a lot of research already for you. Tons of research, hours and hours and hours of research that I'm going to give to you. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to get deep into it because things like this can't happen anymore. Yeah. I know there was the stupid argument that the Democrats and Republicans had about, the Republicans want to pray, but the Democrats don't want them to pray, and blah, blah, blah. Who the heck cares about any of that? First of all, if you believe in prayer, pray. If you don't, then don't. Have good thoughts for them then. always good to have all of those things. And like I said, I took the day off, abstained from recording, and prayed for all of those people. And as I said before, those things are definitely necessary, and we have to have good thoughts for the human population, being empathetic for our fellow brother and sister in order to have a better community, a better earth. Now, I know it's never going to be a utopia, but damn, as long as we can get a little bit closer to loving your brother like Jesus taught us, right? Love your neighbor, we'd be a lot better off than we are. That being said, off my high horse on that, when we look at this, it's not a right or a left thing. It's not about whether prayers are okay or not. Yes, prayers are okay. You have to do something after the prayers are done. After the prayers are done, what else do we do? And I think that's what was getting, I know that's what the conservative side of the aisle was trying to do, was twist the Democrats and say, oh, well, they're saying prayers aren't okay. That's not what they were saying. That's disingenuous. They were saying, what else can we do? Because I've said the same thing, and I am neither Democrat nor conservative. As you know on this program, I do not like either party. I think they're all scumbags. That being said, you do need more than just that. You need to have actual things that can help stop the gun violence in this country. And we talked about it a couple weeks ago when we did have that Fort Stewart shooting, right, in Georgia, when we had the soldier that had the shooting. And again, that's not necessarily something that happens every day with the soldiers and things like that. But still, it lends credence to the fact that we have a lot of issues that need to be solved, including, and again, I'm going to talk about this all on Tuesday, but just to give you a little bit of a preview here, right? Mental health there's an epidemic in this country that needs to be fixed. It extends to homelessness, it extends to the injustices of redlining and all sorts of other things, which we will get into. I don't want to give all of my my facts away. I want you to show up first, but we will talk about that. We'll talk about things, potential solutions to mental health, increased evaluation, screenings, free mental health screenings for everyone, increased evaluations within schools, within military bases, other things like that. Secure firearm access. I was thinking about this, and if I have to wait a damn week to sign up and get a passport, or 2 weeks, or if I have to even wait 3 days for Amazon package, you should have to wait at least a week for a gun. Then there's no questions asked. If you apply for a gun, you should have to wait a week. There should be no gun buying on site ever. You should have to wait a week. If you can wait 3 days for an Amazon package, you can wait a week for a gun while everything goes through the system, checks your background, checks mental health, clears all the stuff. Once it's clear, if it's earlier, hey, lucky you. You get the gun a couple days earlier. If not, sit your ass the hell down and wait for it, because there ain't no reason that I should be able to get a gun easier than a passport. No reason whatsoever. That's ridiculous. That is utterly ridiculous. So firearm availability will be something we talk about. And as well, law enforcement, coordination, drills. So a lot of these times law enforcement are a little slow on that. Remember Uvalde? That was a horrible law enforcement response. So we've got a lot of things to work on, but we have to do something, because we are the only country in the world that has this many mass shooting incidents, multiple per week. They say one a day, but they're also counting mass shootings kind of as like I believe it's 3 or more or 4 or more, which honestly, yes, I guess you could consider that a mass shooting. When I'm thinking mass shooting, I'm thinking more like someone running up on, like this, like 20 people. I'm not necessarily thinking 3 or 4, because that could just be an argument on the downtown. Right? That could just be there was an argument in a parking lot a couple weeks ago between 4 dudes that just were too big for their britches, and they had a little bit too much to drink, and they shot at each other. So, like, what if that happened? That's not a mass shooting in my eyes. But anyways, I digress, because that matters nothing to this. But the point is, we'll talk more about that as well and see about what are those solutions that we have that we can get to fix this problem, because we can't continue going on having this sort of thing where innocent people, children especially, but anyone, innocent are losing their lives. Now, this guy was complete psycho, and he knew it himself. She, transgender. And look, have there been transgender people that have committed the last few of these? Yes, that is true. But this whole thing going into, it's a mass hysteria because the transgenders are, I mean, there were thousands upon thousands of hetero white males before that did it, and it was, no one ever batted an eye, right? I mean, people batted an eye, but you get what I'm saying. No one decided to fix it. We're still here. So let's focus on the real issues. And yes, that is something that may need to be addressed, but that's addressed through the mental health segment of it, not through persecuting that segment of the population more, whether you agree with them or not. And I'm not saying I do or not, but whether you agree with them or not is not the point. You don't persecute them worse. Why do you think this happened? He felt he was persecuted at some point by all these people. Now, this guy was crazy, but a lot of these people feel as if they're persecuted by these people, and that's why they decide to do these mass shootings. So let's get to the root of these things instead of actually attacking the populations, the things like that. Now, again, if the individuals deserve to be held accountable for anything that they do. Now, sadly, this person took their own life and could not be held accountable, but we need to figure out a better way to make sure this does not happen anymore. And I will give that to you next Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Mind of the Professor. Make sure you subscribe to Ball and Buds, BALLANDBUDS, handy QR code up there at the top. That will help get you to our social medias where you can follow all of our social media profiles. In other news, might as well continue on in the United States. How do I start out about this? I'm from the DC area, okay? And yes, DC has crime just like any major city has crime. Ooh, I'm up. Hold on. Wow, I just got the noise. Hold on a second. Oh, go back. Ooh, I didn't know I was up. All right, hold on. I got to pick. So here we go. I'm looking. Look, I don't need another quarterback because I already got Mahomes. All I need is either running backs or receivers from here on out. I already told you. Let's see. Running backs are looking a little stiff. Luckily, I got 2 running backs last time. I'm glad I did that. Let's go receiver. We're going for high upside here, y'all. Remember. Ooh, 2 of my favorite picks are here. Oh, they got both of my favorite picks here? 2 of my favorite picks I've been picking in every draft, y'all. Marvin Mims Jr. going to be good in Denver, so make sure you get your stock on Marvin Mims Jr. And as well, Christian Kirk, resurgence of the Houston Texans offense this season with Tank Dell being injured with the broken leg. You have Nico Collins, number 1, and then you have Christian Kirk, number 2, with Stephon Diggs going to New England. So here you got him, and then you got Jaden Higgins on the same team, right? So Jaden Higgins is also projected to do pretty good this year as a rookie. I am not sure yet about Higgins because he is a rookie, but I know Kirk, when healthy, is really good because he shined for me in Jacksonville the past few years. So while I did say take the high upside in those cases, I'm hedging here since I picked the high upside with Marvin Mims. I'm going with Christian Kirk here on a little more of a solidified position. So now you look at my roster. I'm feeling really, really good about my roster. Let me see who I got here. Let's see if I can show the roster view. So I am all the way at the end. No, I want my roster view. No. I wanted a bigger one. Anyways, it's over here on the left. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Jacobs, Jalen Warren, Mike Evans, Juwan Jennings, Brock Bowers, Travis Etienne, Ramondre Stevenson, Marvin Mims Jr., Christian Kirk. I'm very happy with this draft so far. Again, the only thing I would have gone back and changed so far is I picked Jawan Jennings over Cooper Kupp. Probably would have gone back and got Cooper Kupp instead. And also Jacobs and Warren, I wasn't really paying attention because it really doesn't matter in the guillotine leagues because remember, you're going to end up picking up free agents anyways, but they got the same bye in week 5. So if I don't get another running back before week 5, and if Travis Etienne or Ramondre Stevenson are not playing at all or not playing at a good level, and I don't get a free agency, I might be stuck in week 5 on that running back front. So we'll see there. But everything else, I definitely am looking at and enjoying and thus far. Cool. All right, 5 more minutes. Let me get you up out of here. No more of that. That's enough of that. Just wanted to show you how I think as a fantasy football player. But yeah, look, y'all, this is very performative what President Trump is doing, putting the police in LA and DC and Chicago. Are there crime there? Yes, of course. There's crime in all major cities. Does the crime require the National Guard? No. As I've told you many times on this program, the military, the National Guard should not ever be used for civilian purposes at all, unless it's some major natural disaster or something like that. Like Katrina last week, prayers in memory for all those people. To be using them and me seeing them invest picking up trash is just a waste of resources. It reminds me of when I was in either basic training and tech school, and they just made you go pick up trash and cigarette butts because they wanted to obviously humble you and discipline you, and as well at the same time clean up the base while using people that are lower ranked because they can. That's what this is, and it's all performative, y'all. I would be more impressed if Donald Trump really cared about crime in those communities, but he doesn't. Another reason I know that is because a lot of the National Guard are in affluent and whiter areas where there isn't as much crime. And to say crime has gone down is disingenuous. Most people just don't want to be outside when there's police around because it's kind of like COVID. It's like a major, like emergency state, and people get scared. I would even be scared, and I'm former military, but I wouldn't want to see former military walking around policing. What needs to be done is there needs to be more resources given to local federal police departments. If you feel that there's that much of a problem, which sure, crime is a problem, then dedicate more resources instead of President Donald Trump actually, going through and cutting lots of parts of the government, including parts of, federal spending on law enforcement. Why not give more? Right? Why not give more police officers, give more money to hire police officers? Police officers, as much as me personally, my opinion for the profession is lower than others, they don't get paid a lot of money for what they do. They need to get paid a lot more for the stuff they have to go through. More mental health services, more cooperation in between city and state. And then the homeless thing, like just sending homeless people out like they're doing here in Nashville and just like sending them away with no transitional housing and closing down housing encampments. And don't tell me anything about this because I've literally been helping to have to close them down. Not because I want to, but because I work for I volunteer for humanitarian organizations and things like that have to be done. And it breaks my heart because they're not actually giving them transitional houses or places to go. And I'm going to also talk about that during my Mind of the Professor next Tuesday at 8 Eastern. So that being said, I really appreciate everybody that tuned in today. Thank you so much. As always, I love you. You are a blessing. It is Omar, the Professor Fonseca. This has been another installment of the Professor's Semanalmente. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Ball and Buds, BALLANDBUDS, handy QR code right up there at top. It'll take you to our all of our social medias. Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Instagram, all that good stuff as well. Make sure you hit that like button, whether watching now or on the replay. It really does help us out. in the algorithm. Drop a comment to anything I asked or talked about because, again, boost us up in the algorithm. And, check us out. Again, here's the schedule coming up. Major League Baseball tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern. Me, M. Weeby, Amul the Agilist, Jersey Boy MJ. By the way, go check out Jersey Boy MJ starting right now on YouTube at IOW Sports Network with MLB Talk. Go catch them right now. And Lion Reese Penn from the Rec Room. Wednesday, 8 Eastern. NFL Super Season Spectacular. We're going to have insiders from Ball and Buds, IOW, Let's Talk Sports, The Bottom Line Sports, Final Say Pod, Audible Sports Pod. We're going to have insiders from everywhere Thursday, 8 p.m. So MLB tomorrow, 8 p.m. NFL Thursday, 8 p.m. Next Tuesday, Mind of the Professor, 7:30 Eastern p.m. Again, I'll be talking about the mental health epidemic and all that. Wednesday, next week, Boxing Champs Fight Picks and News Special for Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Crawford. That will be at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then Thursday, the 11th, Thursday the 10th, before the Thursday night game next week, not this week, we'll start the college football NFL weekly update preview on that Thursday, the 11th at 8 p.m. Eastern. So again, please make sure you tune in, support, subscribe to Ball and Buds, and hit that like button. And we love you here. As always, go out, do your best, succeed, be kind to each other, keep your head up, and spread love the Omar way. Holla, 5,000.
He's with the millions.
It's that world heavyweight float. Championship belt wrapped around my waist, yo. I got that Ric Flair figure float. Slam you on the pavement, that's why they call me Street Pro. Create heat on beat close. Like Jordan after the second time he three-peated, folks. Get ready, set, let's go. Fight toe to toe, release the flow created by this mic pro. Lights, camera, get low. Action packed, back to back. In fact, this monster will go. Y'all better let him know. Man with the master plan, and you have no need to know. You came prepared, now get ready for the show.
Sports Professor.